Welcome back, my dear students, for Standard 7th General Science. We will be doing with chapter number 4, Nutrition in Living Organisms, Module 2. My name is Ms. Jagjeet Kaur. So students, before beginning with Module 2, let's recall what we have studied in Module 1. So we studied that substances which are digested and assimilated for obtaining energy and for the growth and health of our body are called as foodstuffs. Nutrients can be classified into two types, that is micronutrients and macronutrients. The process of taking in and using food which takes place in living organisms is called nutrition. And there are two types of nutrition, that is autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. Then plants in presence of sunlight with the help of chlorophyll, carbon dioxide and water prepares the food for the plants. This process of making food by plants is called photosynthesis. And the transport system of plants consists of the xylem and the phloem. The xylem transports minerals and water from root to all aerial parts of the plants. The phloem transports food from the leaves to other parts of the plant. Rhizobium microorganisms and Azotobacter microorganisms help in fixation of nitrogen, and two different types of plants live together to fulfill their needs of nutrition, protection, support, etc. with each other's help. This type of nutrition is called symbiotic nutrition. For example, lichen. Now let's see what are the learning objectives for Module 2. So students, in this module, you will be learning about heterotrophic plants, then insectivorous plants, saprophytic plants, then what are the role of nutrients and effects of their deficiency on plants. Then you will be learning about nutrition in animals, and the three types of nutrition in animals are Holozoic Nutrition, Saprozoic Nutrition and Parasitic Nutrition. Now students, let's learn about heterotrophic plants. Heterotrophic plants do not contain chlorophyll. Thus, they cannot produce their own food. The plants that grow on the body of other plants to obtain food are known as parasitic plants. For example, loranthus and cuscata, etc. As cuscata plant does not contain chlorophyll, it is completely dependent on the host plant for its nutrition. So students, what is host plant? Host plant is a plant upon which an organism, such as an insect or mildew, lodges or subsists. And it is said to be a completely parasitic plant. That means the plant which completely depend on the host plant for its nutrition, that plant is called as parasitic plant. Now students, use your brain power to answer these questions. Which part of the loranthus plant carries out photosynthesis? Yes, in loranthus plant, photosynthesis is carried out by green leaves. Now the second question, from where do they obtain minerals and water? Yes, in loranthus, root system is absent. Thus, it attacks the aerial part of the host tree by developing haustoria, that is root-like structure. These haustoria absorb water and minerals directly from vascular system of the host plants. Now the third question, why is loranthus known as a partially parasitic plant? Yes, loranthus is known as a partially parasitic plant because it is dependent on host plant just for water and minerals. However, It can make its own food by the process of photosynthesis. Now let's learn about insectivorous plants. Some plants feed upon insects to obtain nutrients. Such plants are called as insectivorous plants. These plants generally grow in soil or water deficient in nitrogen compounds. Now students, what do you mean by deficient? Deficient means not having enough of a specific quality or ingredient. Drosera burmanae is an example of insectivorous plant. Now students, again use your brain power to answer this question. The question is, why does the pitcher plant feed on insects even though it produces food by photosynthesis? Yes, pitcher plants contain chlorophyll, thus they can prepare their own food by photosynthesis. However, pitcher plants grow in the soil deficient in nitrogen compounds. Thus, to fulfill its nitrogen requirement, it traps the insects and utilizes their proteins. Hence, the pitcher plant feeds on insects even though it produces food by photosynthesis. Now let's learn about saprophytic plants. As plants which obtain their food from dead and decaying bodies of other organisms are called as saprophytic plants. For example, fungi like mushroom and yeast. Fungi break down the carbon compounds present in dead remains by secreting digestive enzymes. The resulting solution is absorbed by fungi to obtain nutrients. Some fungi cause diseases or illness. However, some fungi have medicinal properties. Fungi such as yeast and mushroom are useful. Yeast is used in fermentation process for making bread, and mushrooms are used as food and are rich in iron and vitamins. So students, now let's understand about the role of nutrients and the effects of their deficiency on plants. So the first nutrient is nitrogen, and the function of nitrogen is that it is an important component of proteins, chlorophyll and cytoplasm. And the effect of deficiency on plants is that plants will be retarded and it will be having stunted growth and the yellowing of leaves. Then the second nutrient is phosphorus. It converts light energy into chemical energy, and its deficiency on plants is early leaf fall, late flowering, slow growth of roots. Then the third nutrient is potassium. It is necessary for metabolic activities, and the effect of deficiency will be weak stem, wilting of leaves, failure to produce carbohydrates. Then the next nutrient is magnesium. Its function is to produce chlorophyll, and the effect on plant is slow retarded growth, yellowing of leaves. Then the next nutrient is iron. It is also used for the production of chlorophyll, and the effect is yellowing of leaves. Then the next nutrient is manganese. It is used for production of main plant hormones, and the effects of deficiency on plants will be retarded growth and spotted leaves. And the next nutrient is zinc. It is used for the production of hormones and their intermediates, and the effect of deficiency on plant will be retarded growth and the yellowing of leaves. Now students, let's recall which are the various nutrients of food. For what purpose are the nutrients used? Yes, there are 6 main nutrients in our food, that is carbohydrates, fats, proteins, fibers, vitamins and minerals. And nutrients are used for a variety of purposes such as to supply the energy required for doing work, growth and development of the body, to replace the damaged cells and repair tissues, and to fight against diseases. Now students, let's learn about nutrition in animals. As we know that nutrients necessary for performing different body activities are obtained from food. They are supplied to the various body parts through blood, and the food that we consume is converted into soluble forms so that it can easily mix in blood. Nutrition in animals involve following steps, and the steps are ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation and egestion. Now let's see what is ingestion. In ingestion, food is taken into the body. Different animals show different methods of ingestion of food like swallowing, chewing, sucking, scraping, gnawing, etc. In digestion, food is converted into simple soluble forms. And in absorption, soluble food is transferred to the blood. Then the fourth step is assimilation. In assimilation, absorbed food is utilized by cells and tissues for energy production, growth and repair. And the last step is egestion. In egestion, waste products and undigested food is removed from the body. So students, now let's do one activity. You have to observe the picture of animals given below and complete the following table. So in this table, the name of the animal is given and you are supposed to tell me the type or the name of the food and the method of ingestion. Now the first picture given is of cow. Yes, cow eat grass or hay. And the method of ingestion is correct, chewing. Now the second picture given is frog. Yes, frog eats insects like flies, moths and dragonflies. Yes, correct. The method of ingestion of frog is swallowing. Now students, let's learn about Holozoic Nutrition. As we know that amoeba is a unicellular animal, it can take in food through any part of its body surface. It surrounds the food particle, take it into the cell and digest it using different enzymes. As the amoeba moves further with the help of pseudopodia, the undigested food is left behind. In unicellular animals such as amoeba, Euglena, Paramecium, the whole process of nutrition occurs within their unicellular body. Insects have mouthparts for ingestion of food, for example cockroach and grasshopper, which nibble their food, have jaw-like mouthparts. Butterflies have tube-like proboscis for sucking the food. Mosquitoes and bedbugs have needle-like mouthpart to pierce and tube-like mouthpart to suck blood or other fluids. Now students, animals are classified as follows based on the type of food they eat. So the animals are classified as herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, scavengers and decomposers. So now let's see what are herbivores animals. Herbivores are the animals which eat plants as their food. For example, grazing animals, granivores, that is the animals who eat seeds. They are also called as seed eaters. Then the frugivores, these are the animals who eat fruits and also called as fruit eaters, etc. The next is carnivores. Carnivores are dependent on other animals for their food. They are indirectly dependent on plants for food. For example, predators, that is animals which feed on herbivores, and insectivores, that is animals which feed on insects. Then next we have omnivores. Omnivores are the animals which obtain their food from both plants and animals. For example, monkey, chimpanzee, human, etc. Then the next we have scavengers. Scavengers are the organisms which obtain their food from dead bodies of animals. For example, vulture, crow, hyena, etc. And the last is decomposers. Decomposers are some microbes which obtain their food by decomposing the dead bodies of organisms or other materials. Now students, let's learn about saprozoic nutrition. Certain insects, unicellular animals, etc. absorb the liquid organic material from dead bodies of other animals or from the environment and obtain the nutrients. This is called as saprozoic nutrition. For example, houseflies, ants, spiders, etc. Now about parasitic nutrition. Some animals obtain their food only from animals on which they are dependent. This is called as parasitic nutrition. And also students, animals which live on the body surface of other animals and obtain their food by sucking their blood are called ectoparasites, and such type of nutrition is called ectoparasitic nutrition. For example, loose, bedbug, tick, etc. And animals which live inside the body of other animals and obtain their food are called endoparasites, and such type of nutrition is called as endoparasitic nutrition. For example, tapeworm, roundworm, etc. Now students, this was the end of the chapter. So in this module, what we learned was that heterotrophic plants do not contain chlorophyll. The plants that grow on the body of other plants to obtain food are called parasitic plants. For example, Loranthus cascata. Then insectivorous plants generally grow in soil or water deficient in nitrogen compounds. For example, Drosera burmani. Then plants which obtain the food from dead and decaying bodies of other organisms are called saprophytic plants. Example, mushrooms and yeast. Nutrients necessary for various activities of the body are obtained from food. And we studied about the steps in nutrition. So the steps in nutrition are ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and egestion. Then we studied about Holozoic nutrition. Holozoic nutrition means the feeding of solid and liquid food by animals. For example, amoeba, cat, dog, deer, etc. Then some insects, unicellular animals, etc. obtain the nutrients by absorbing the liquid organic material from the dead bodies of other animals or from the environment. This is saprozoic nutrition. For example, houseflies, ants, spiders, etc. Then parasitic nutrition is further classified as ectoparasite nutrition and endoparasitic nutrition. Now students, this is an assignment for you all. You have to answer these questions. So the first question is, you have to classify the following according to their food type. So the animals over here are tiger, cow, vulture, bacteria, deer, goat, human, fungus, lion, sparrow, buffalo, frog, cockroach, tick. So these animals you are supposed to classify according to their food type as herbivores, carnivores, omnivorous, scavengers, decomposers, and parasitic. So the second question is you have to answer in one word. So the first question is the type of heterotrophic plant which grows on the body of other plants to obtain food. Then the second question, fungi, which is used in fermentation processes and for making bread. Then the third question, the step of nutrition in which food is converted into simple soluble forms. Then the fourth question, animals that depend on other animals and are directly dependent on plants for their food. Thank you, dear students.